All right, in this section, we're going to continue covering passengers on vehicles. And in this section, we're going to take and focus on passengers riding on a vehicle instead of in a vehicle. Now, the letters at the bottom of the vehicle counter that are going to determine the passenger quantity and type are very similar to vehicles that can carry passengers inside of them. They're just going to have an O at the end of them. So you're either going to have a PO or a PPO at the bottom of the vehicle, and the amount that they can carry of passenger quantity is the same as in a P or a PP type vehicle. So a PO can carry a half squad, one support weapon, and one single man counter. And a PPO can carry a full squad, two support weapons, and two single man counters. So like this Stug that I have laid out here, it is a PPO vehicle, so it can carry a full squad, two single man counters, and two support weapons. There are a few different rules though when you're having a vehicle that has passengers on it instead of in it. One of those is if the vehicle were to fire its ordnance weapon, not its machine gun, its ordnance weapon, the units will have to immediately disembark and be marked with a moved counter, and they have to take a morale check to determine whether or not they become shaken. So if this Stug were to fire its ordnance weapon, you would disembark all of the passengers, mark them with the moved counter, and you would do the morale check as normal to determine if they're shaken or not. If they disembark in this manner, they are able to be subjected to op fire. Now, if the vehicle is hit by an ordnance weapon, it can cause them to disembark as well. So let's say our Stug here is shot at by this Sherman, but it is not destroyed or abandoned from the attack. It's just hit by it. In that case, the units also must disembark again with a moved counter, and again they're going to take a morale check to determine whether or not they become shaken. If the vehicle is destroyed, however, by the attack, all of the passengers have to take a bailout check as normal, like we discussed in the previous video. Make sure to watch that one to see how the bailout checks work. A couple more things when it comes to passengers on the vehicle. If the Stug is fired on by these units and the units that are on the Stug become shaken because of that fire, at that point they're going to have to disembark and they'll be marked with a move counter from that. The ones that aren't shaken don't have to disembark from the vehicle. If they are disembarked like that, they are not subjected to op fire. It does not constitute movement points. However, if instead the Stug here was moving along with its passengers and it was op fired against, the passengers that were shaken would have to disembark as well, but that would be considered to have an implied 2 movement point cost, and they would be subjected to op fire as normal, up to 2 movement point worth of op fire, and the Stug could take and continue moving on once you had conducted the op fire. So if our Stug here was driving, these American units op fired against it, causing some of the units that are riding on it to become shaken. They would disembark in the hex they were op fired on, and they could be subjected to more op fire because it would have an implied 2 movement point cost in that situation.